All right. Hello, guys. It's Loni. I am here with somebody super special. We are going to talk about the making of the Kickstarter video. And ta-da, this is Ian Nikolai Kellett. He's the producer owner of Liquid Luck Productions. And he's somebody I've known a long time.
Yeah, I'd say that you knew me pretty much my whole life. You could probably say that.
Your whole life. Yeah, I think I was the first one to know you.
That's probably true.
Yeah, so that's pretty special. Yeah, Ian is more than my producer. He is my number one son. So anyway, I thought this would be a good discussion because this has been quite a process, this whole Kickstarter thing. It's a new thing for me with the philosopher cards. And I haven't really been able to, I've done a lot of things with you, but I haven't been able to collaborate and do any projects yet. So it was fun how that all came about and progressed. And so let's, besides just the video, I should tell everyone kind of the story, like how I have said like this game just like came to me like one night, and I was like downloaded the information or whatever, or I came in a dream or whatever you want to say that. And you happened to be the first person. You were here during the holidays, and you were the first person that I told. Yeah. I remember like stumbling, into the living room and like making coffee, and you had your coffee, and I was like, Ian, what do you think about this game that I'm thinking about creating? And I kind of gave you like the scenario about people taking turns being a philosopher. Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was the first person that you mentioned that to, but yeah, I totally remember it. I had my coffee with my eggnog, and I was probably still like in the delirious like first hour of waking up. For me, like waking up, I'm not awake right away. It takes me a long time to get going. But yeah, I totally remember that.
Yeah, so it's more than, so you've been a very crucial part of this process, so thank you. And you didn't know how crucial that is. Not only those things, but also backing, ideas, jumping ideas across to you. Have been there for me, so. But I think you should talk about your business, Liquid Luck Productions, what you do and your background and how you created that company.
For sure. Yeah, I think my wife and I started Liquid Luck. Gosh, it's been 10 years ago now. 10 years that we've had Liquid Luck. I can't believe that's, yeah. So it's been 10 years. It was 2011 when we started it. We started it for a film that we were creating that was kind of a fantasy adjacent short film. And then we started just working under that company and on little projects that people were paying us to do. And whenever we had something that someone was paying us, we just, we made that an LLC and just started running it as an LLC. It's actually my third video production company that I started. But
I guess I'm not aware of that. What were the other two?
So my first one was Serenity Films, and I believe that was an LLC as well. I think they were all LLCs. Actually, 3051 might have been an S Corp. I think 3051 Films was an S Corp, which was my second one. And they were all started with different people. And, I think Liquid Luck was the first one that started getting bigger budget projects. And the first one that I really took seriously. The rest of them were kind of entities for me to make money, but not necessarily entities that I was marketing or really trying to develop into a business. I was really just treating it as I need a company to deal, handle financially the transactions that I'm making. We've been fairly like successful as far as our documentary and TV stuff that we've done. But that's not necessarily what, like Liquid Luck Productions, we typically market it as like a business to business style production company because that's the majority of what makes money. That's, you know, all the other projects that we're doing are generated from us and then sold to distributors or something like that. So we never interact with the public for our documentaries or our, you know, TV shows and stuff like that. But you know, to date, I've gotten 5 Emmys for projects that I produced and directed, and I was a cinematographer on a feature doc that was nominated for an Oscar. So I've gotten enough of a, like, I guess, like a portfolio of work that I can keep kind of working on those projects in the background. And in the meantime, kind of my bread and butter, those things that I keep me going in between these big projects, is business to business videos, marketing companies, which, you know, I are by no means like less fun. I think that what's interesting is how do you tell a good story, a story that people will relate to and want to hear, and rather than just like another advertisement. I mean, we see ads all the time, and I think that it's something special when you can make a video that people actually tune into and are like, oh, what is this? And I like to do that from like trying to tell people stories. So that's kind of my thought and my philosophy as far as all that goes.
Yeah. Well, you started in film way before. I mean, when you were young. I mean, you were on the other side of the camera. So, yeah.
My understanding of what the first project that I was ever a part of was, I think either a Pampers or a Huggies commercial that my dad made back when I was a baby.
So cute.
And then I guess there was the film that Joe made that both you and I were superimposed together or whatever. But yeah, so from the very beginning of my life, I was kind of around it and partaking in it. And I had a TV show that I started doing when I was 8 years old and I think I stopped when I was 14 or 15. And that one I started by hosting, and then I moved into writing my own stuff, and then I moved into directing the project, and then started producing it. And that was really just all motivated by money, because like I realized the more often I could make these shows happen, the more money I would make. And like I was getting paid nothing at the time, but like for my day of like hosting, I made, I think, $300, and that's a lot of money to like an 8-year-old
For a kid. Yeah.
And so I felt like, I could buy so much stuff with this, and
Legos.
built up my Lego collection. So that's kind of what the initial thing that got me into from in front of the camera to behind the camera. And I guess it's all, most of my work's been TV since the very beginning. I think before Liquid Luck was my full-time gig, there's a little while that I shot, and then I started directing and producing for like reality TV for Discovery and HGTV. And kind of my intent and my goal is to eventually bring those projects into Liquid Luck and get Liquid Luck set up as an entity that can do those projects, while doing, like I said, while doing all the business to business videos. We have this basis of reality shows and documentaries that we're constantly kind of our mechanism for keep making those.
Is that what you prefer, the reality and documentaries?
Not necessarily. I think that as a creative, it's important to me to consistently be working on new and interesting projects. And I think that, right now I have 5 feature films that I'm trying to produce with the hopes that one of them will get funded. We have 3 documentaries, 1 that's funded and 2 that are not funded. And we have 2 reality shows that we're in the process of. Besides that, I'm in the middle of 3 or 4 different like little videos, this one included, the Kickstarter video. That's kind of been my main focus for the last several weeks or so. But yeah, there's a lot that I kind of keep my hands in at all times. And I think that allows me to always have a new focus coming into stuff. And I think what I've noticed is if I always do the same thing, I don't get better as a filmmaker. I stagnate and I lose that like creative desire to keep making things or trying things different ways and playing with it in a new light. And you know, that's what keeps me motivated, keeps me working on stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, even the little things like what you're doing for me, you probably learn something new. It's, you know, every single project, there's probably something that comes up that hasn't come up before.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there definitely is. And I think that one of the things that I love most about filmmaking, and I love specifically most about doing like advertisement business to business videos, videos that I'm making for different companies or different marketing teams, is that I learn the inner workings of all sorts of different businesses and different marketing plans. And because of that, I have all these little glimpses on how different industries work. And that lets me, you know, when I get in a room with different people, I really like that I can talk about what their business actually is. If I've done videos in that industry, I usually know it pretty well because part of my process is, you know, researching, you know, that industry. So I have the right questions when I interview people. You kind of have to like, as a video producer, as a director, for that's doing interviews, you kind of have to have a feel for what somebody's going to say before they say it, before you interview them, because you have to kind of know, oh, this is what the story of the film that we're making or this little short doc or corporate doc is. So you have to know what questions to ask to get those little pieces to piece it together. And people think, oh, you just, to make a documentary or to make something like that, you just go out into the field and film people and talking about stuff. But really, that doesn't work. You'd have to get so much footage that it would just be unmanageable. You really need to like have an idea of like, oh, this is the story that we're telling. This is what we're communicating, and then piece all the little pieces together as you're interviewing people.
That's really interesting. Yeah, you don't think about how much work is done behind the scenes, you know, even probably before you even start the video.
Yeah, I mean, the shoot day is, it like seems like the main thing that everyone sees is like the actual shooting. But to be honest, like most of the work is either done, most of the work's done before and after. It's like just, you know, when to make like a little like the video for the Kickstarter, that, you know, when I tell people, oh yeah, that'll take, you know, a couple months, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's just a 3-minute video, what, we could get that done in a day or whatever. And you know, I get that, you know, I understand that. I've competed in 48-hour film festivals and done things in you know, ultra fast timelines. The difference, I think, comes into, you know, how much are you planning every single thing that you're doing? How much are you thinking about the story? For me, I on multiple occasions I try to like think about how is the audience experiencing this video. You know, what are they seeing first? Are they hooked and engaged in this? Will this, you know, will this interest them enough to have them read on, or want to know more about this product or whatever I'm doing a project on. And then, you know, I also think about, you have to think in the minds of like a marketing team. You know, there's like the 7 touches, or, you know, it takes 7 times somebody seeing a product and being touched by it, by an advertisement, to actually like want to buy the product and before they start engaging in it. And that's I think that's a rule of thumb, but it's not, you know, it's different for every business. But in my videos, I kind of think of that the same way. How often are they seeing the logo? How often are they seeing the product? How often are people making value statements about the product? You know, I think that's something really important in videos, is like that the value statement of somebody saying, oh, this is why I like something like this. I think that's more important sometimes than even telling what the product even is if you get like somebody that's saying, oh, I like it because of this, or this is what I get out of it.
I mean, that's
Sometimes,
true for like ratings and testimonials. Before people buy anything, they look at the ratings and testimonials. So it's the same thing.
Yeah. And I just think that like a lot of times when people see a video and see somebody's experience with something, I think that connects with them more than, fancy shots or like the logical like breakdown of like, this is how this is going to help you or something like that. I think some of that is just that, after, like I said, I've had this business for like 10 years that I've been doing videos for other businesses. And all that time I watch videos and I'm thinking about them analytically and like, how is this working? Why is this working? And I think some of that comes with, having watched so many different like videos of that kind of type and getting that gut feeling. I a lot of times I talk about editing with your gut or working with your intuition when making works, because sometimes you only know if something's going to work by that gut feeling of, oh, this is what feels right to me, and this is what feels like it's going to work. And
that is an artist talking. I mean, that doesn't happen to everybody. I mean, you are an artist as a videographer, and your gut feeling works for you because you are an artist and you can listen to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also just something that's developed over time doing something. I don't think that it's unique to necessarily anyone. I think it's just that I spend so much time thinking about it, and sometimes it just, you feel when something's right. But I think I went on I don't even remember what the question that you asked was. I went on a major tangent there.
That's okay. It's really interesting. It's good to get to know this about what you do. I think we should talk about the process of this specific video for Kickstarter that you did for the philosopher cards.
Yeah.
So how that came about, of course, I wanted you to do it. And then I sent you kind of images and target words and the feel that I wanted for it. And then I also scripted it out. So I kind of visualized how I wanted it. And then I sent those pieces and parts to you. And then you created that and asked me questions. You asked me questions and then created it. So how does that process, I don't know, since I've never really done a video like that, if another person wants to come in and get a Kickstarter video or whatever video from you, what is the typical process that you go in from the start to?
Yeah, we'll talk about, every time it's just a little bit different because, it is creating something. So it's kind of unique to whatever the needs are for that specific project. But for this one, kind of on my end, you had sent me some images that kind of stuck with you and a lot of times, we'll create vision boards or create image catalogs of things that we liked and things that we liked about certain images. And a lot of times that'll change how we light the interviews, change how we light the B-roll shots. It'll change how we manipulate and take all the footage that we get. For this project, we talked a little bit, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll try to talk to whoever is the owner of a project. In this case, it was you. And I kind of do that pre-interview to get all the ideas in order. And it goes back to talking about making the video before making the video. And then I kind of write out little story elements. And I did that on my own before I ever got the script from you. I kind of went through and wrote, oh, these are things that we need to communicate. I kind of planned, hey, this is, we should put, the intro segment here. This is how long it should be. This is about what it should look like. And, kind of piecing things out like that. You give me the script that you wanted, and just to kind of jump ahead, by the time we filmed both the script and then we also got little interview bits.
Mhm.
And really at that point, I had the option of going entirely into the script or entirely into the interview. I felt like the script was more succinct and to the point. Some of the interview pieces I felt were more truthful and it had more emotional capital. Like the emotion was more genuine and honest, and because of that, it was more truthful and I think it would communicate with the audience more truthfully. So I tried to mix those two together in a way that was also not jarring, because part of what the issue is a scripted piece sounds really scripted. An interview piece sounds really free flowy, and trying to mix those two to where it didn't feel like it felt cohesive rather than like two different totally different things was kind of something that we struggled a little bit with. But I think in the video, I don't think you noticed that it was done two different ways really. Then a lot of times what we'll do is we'll do all views and all that work first, because after we get it kind of pieced together and get a feel for what everything is, then we go off and we do all the B-roll, we get all the shots of different stuff. We didn't necessarily do that this time just because our timeline didn't fit that. That's the most efficient way to do it, because I can look at it and be like, hey, I need a wide shot of the cards here. And then I need 3 close-ups, and then and I can kind of break it down and make a list of, oh, this is everything that I need. And, this shot has to be 3 seconds. This shot's only 2.5. This one's 4. And I can kind of figure out what that is. And then I go shoot it all and kind of piece it together. Sometimes that's not how we do it. That's not how we did it with this one. This one, we kind of had to shoot it because we're on a tighter schedule before I had any idea. So then, what I tend to do in that circumstance is I overshoot. I shoot more than I need and hope that I have all the pieces that and I can piece it together in a way that's cohesive and fits correctly.
Yeah.
And when I say I tried to do that, it's not just me. It's like literally for this video, I think our team, every single one of us had an input on it. Yeah, Noah, Phoenix, Lauren, and I all kind of went through it. We all did notes. We all gave feedback. I mean, and we do several rounds of that, usually just within ourselves as we're piecing it together and getting a feel for it. Because each of us, I think having a team of people that are all video creators, we're always thinking about video stuff. And because of that, we can really give each other good notes. And that's part of why we've been fairly successful. And I think our company's growing so much in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that, and also you allow the consumer, your client, to give input. So you weren't, defensive. You said the first version, the second version, just wanted my feedback, and acted on that. So that, I admire that.
Well, the videos aren't mine. I mean, they're whoever hires me to do it. So we should make whatever changes they want. I'll give my input and my thoughts and feelings about it, but it's not my. This is not a project that's not really my say how it should be or what the final product should be. It's whoever. If you're hiring me to do something, I want to make sure that you're happy with what you have.
Yeah. Well, you talked about the schedule. We're on a tight schedule, and I kind of had my timeline from, January to May. And so things happen, and every business, you come up against walls and they get things thrown at you that you don't expect, and you're trying to juggle all these things. Well, what we're in the middle of at this point is that the Philosopher release campaign, crowdfunding campaign releases May 25th, 2021, which is just a little over a week from now. And we don't have I used 2 different printers. So the primary printer hasn't got the deck to me yet because of, I don't need to go into those issues, but anyway, so here where you're place holding the spots in the video for the primary deck. My photographer is placeholding some spots on the campaign page for that primary deck. So, you know, working with these issues, you have to be flexible. So I know you have a plan for this. Is this something that's common, or am I just, you know, doomed?
No, I mean, I feel like there's always hurdles. There's always things that go wrong, or there's always things that are challenges. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think that's what kept me making videos, is it's the problem solving, and it's the problem solving that makes it interesting, or part of what makes it interesting and keeps me motivated to keep going. And, you know, figuring out, you know, there's times that we have way crazier like deadlines than that. There's been times that we've had 2 people working overnight, you know, to get changes done, you know, rotating shifts to make stuff happen. Having, you know, the deck come in last minute is, you know, just another, like, I guess, hurdle to overcome. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, good. Thank you.
I mean, we just make a plan and do a last minute shoot and get it into the video as fast as we can.
Right. And this is just the prototype of the primary deck. So it's, you know, it's not the final, but it's something that we are going to show, and we can work around it with pictures or whatever. So yeah, I know it'll work out just fine.
Sure.
So what other Kickstarter, this isn't your first Kickstarter video. Kickstarter, well, crowdfunding specifically, a lot of things I've read and heard about, the film that people see is so vital to the success of the campaign, because sometimes it's the one thing they'll like watch that video and then they'll move on. They'll watch the video, move on, or, you know, they'll watch the video, then buy and stay on the page. So we want that. So what are your tips that you know, that you have done that you believe are important with a crowdfunding video?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's exactly, I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's, you know, how do you take an audience that it might just click on the video and try to see what something is? Really, I mean, you have to capture them in the first 3 shots are probably the first 3 things that they see are the most important of the whole project. And the reason why is those 3 are going to give you a feel of, hey, they're going to make a value statement. Is this a professional, you know, professional product? Does this look interesting? Am I interested in it? You know, they're going to make all sorts of value statements on those first three shots that they see. And some of our videos, we have a few videos that have gone viral for different companies, and you can tell the ones that get millions of views are the ones that have the strongest, you know, intro, the strongest open, that strongest hook of, this is why you should keep watching. Really, those 3 shots get you 30 seconds of them watching and getting a feel of what the product is. So usually in that first 30 seconds, I try to have a lot of our nicest shots. And then I usually try to have a nice value statement intro to kind of give them make them ask a question. You know, I think of, you know, I think of videos sometimes as question answer patterns, that you're trying to put in the audience head a question. And, you know, if that, what is this? Oh, why do I need this? Or, you know, it's some sort of question that keeps them watching. And if I can develop a question in their head that keeps them watching, then they're going to watch through the video and gather whatever information that the video will provide. And then usually I try to have an ask at the end, you know, that something to move them on to that next thing, being sharing something, or checking out somewhere else, or continuing the project further. Usually if they even make it to the end, chances are they're going to at least probably look at your Kickstarter page. You know, my assumption is, you know, it's a 3-minute video, and I hate to say this, but like nowadays people's attention spans are really short. If they make it to the like the 1.5, 2 minute mark, they're probably going to scroll down and look at a few things, and that's enough to probably, you know, move them into the page and proceed to that like second touch, you know, that second gathering of more information. If they make it to all the way to the end of the video, I'm thrilled. Those are probably the people that it might not even be the first time they watch the video, but if they get to the end of the video, there's a chance 1 in 10, 1 in 100 might actually share it, might, you know, do something with it to expand that audience. And that's really what you need to be asking them to do. You have to have some sort of ask to expand the audience. You know, and that's where you get the virality out of videos.
That's really interesting about the first 30 seconds. So you try to get them excited enough in that first 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all about it. I kind of think of it like those old the children's like chapter books that they try to end the end of every chapter on like a cliffhanger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to keep you reading into the next chapter. It's kind of like that. It's like the first 30 seconds, that first bit needs to give enough of a cliffhanger, enough of something to keep you watching through the whole video. And at least that's what I think about when I'm trying to plan this in the very beginning of like, how do I build that hook? What is the audience experience through the video?
Yeah, and the other important part that I've researched and found out is that it's not just the product. You're also selling the story and the person / people behind the product.
Yeah.
So, and I know you don't have people that want to be in front of the camera, and you have to work.
I got this from my like college like writing literature classes, but they talked about like the ethos, pathos, and logos. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but you know, having like that logical valuation. And you know, there's some types of people, I think my brother is probably one of them, that has like a very logical valuation and sees has a logical viewpoint. And it's that logical aspect that they might be looking at or evaluating when they buy something. Is this, you know, the best headphones? Is this, you know, the best graphics card? What are the logic behind all those little pieces? There's like the emotional appeal to something. You know, what do I emotionally feel about the product? Do I feel compassion towards the people that created it? Do I relate to the people that created it? Does this make me feel like I'm going to have a better life? This make me feel like I'm going to be closer to my family? How do I feel? You know, and then there's the people that are behind it, as far as like, you know, say you have like a professor or something like that says, oh, this product, you know, has a statistical evidence of like improving your life quality, and you believe it because who that person is, that person's appeal to you know, it wouldn't, if like Elon Musk was trying to raise money, you know, a lot of people would probably finance for him just because it's Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the valuations that different people have different ways of valuing products, and you kind of have to make sure you try to hit all of those a little bit and in different ways.
Really interesting. That's so true.
And I mean, this is all just kind of what I think about. I'm sure that every content creator, video producer thinks about this in different ways, but it's how I piece my work together and kind of make those value statements for myself.
Yeah. Well, I just have to say that, you know, the process was really interesting. It is, like you said, like all this, the build up to that studio time, you know, and like trying to, like, I wanted to look like a library and what to bring for that and what to do, you know, and like, it was just a little part of what you did, you know, and that I didn't realize all that work that was involved. So I really appreciate, you know, that video, and it's turning out really good. I'm really excited about it. So the Kickstarter is, oh, let me show this the box for the Philosopher game. It's starting May 25th. I want to tell about your studio. This is a booster back. So the Liquid Lux studio is really nice. It's in Denver, Colorado. Is it Loveland, the suburb?
It's Lakewood.
Lakewood. Yeah, I get those two mixed up all the time in Denver. So, and there's thunder in the background. I was talking about like how you run across roadblocks when you're doing things, and you try to do a Zoom, and there's a rain thunderstorm.
That was a big. I didn't hear it up until now, but that one was really big.
The gods wanted to say hello, gods. They want to, make a little debut in the Zoom. Anyway. So Liquid Deluxe has an amazing little studio in Denver, Colorado. You do a lot of different things. Besides going to liquidluckproductions.com, is there a best way to get a hold of you? We could put that in the notes of the YouTube as well.
Yeah, I mean, our website's probably the best way to get in touch with us. Our Facebook gets checked pretty often as well, but I think people emailing us from our website is usually the best way.
Yeah.
I think it's info@liquidluck.productions.com is our like general email if you're just trying to reach someone.
Yeah. So the video is very important with these crowdfunding things. I've learned so much about crowdfunding. I've learned so much about Ian Nikolai, or Nikolai as I call you, about what you do on a day-to-day basis, which is, you have all these family members, and this is kind of what Philosopher is about. You have all these family members, but you don't really know them. So like just this process of like us collaborating on this video made me really get to know you and what you do on a day-to-day basis. So it kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm trying to, bring to the world. So anything else you want to share?
Not necessarily. Do you have any other questions or, specific thoughts as far as the Kickstarter video? Or
I think it's exciting. I think one thing I'm really happy with is the speed of it, meaning that you talked about attention spans. I was thinking about that too in the beginning. Is like the music and the frame changes and the.
I think I might. Yeah, a lot of times we try to cut on the beat of music, and I feel like that adds energy from like I think sometimes energy comes from the music and should inform the video. So you'll notice that we try to cut on the beats of the music so that energy kind of transfers from the video from the music into the video. And it's another way of kind of like capturing people is, does that energy come through? Does it make them excited? Do they get hooked into it enough to feel that energy from the music? And I think a lot of times emotion comes from music.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm working on a music booster pack. So there's a lot of different, everybody loves music, and there's so many different types. And so, it's the heartbeat of the world. All right. Well, thank you, Nikolai. Thanks for the time. Thanks
no
for
problem.
all your hard work. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're going to have a successful campaign, a successful launch, and maybe you'll get to do some more crowdfunding videos in the future. Maybe for me, maybe for others. So for sure.
Sounds good.
For me and for others. So, all right. Well, there's Philosopher, Liquid Luck Productions, Ian, Loni.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. All right. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.